these were tips to elevate your self-care routines. I just love that, elevate. Let's elevate our self-care routines. There's a sense of because you're worth it in here, right?
Indeed. Well, that's shoulders back. Elevate is actually shoulders back, isn't it? Rise.
Yes, rise.
Yeah.
Shoulders back, rise. And so kick us off with the next one. After we've done our PEMS checking in physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, what would you say is tip number 2?
Well, I'm actually just going to add on to that number 1, and it's I know there was a social media probably about 10 years ago, and it was be okay with being not okay. And I'm actually, this is still number 1, but it's actually be okay with that number.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, dear listeners. Welcome, dear Deb. Here we are with another one of our deliciously motivated mindset conversations. Hi, Deb. How are you?
Oh, today's a goodie. I'm great.
It certainly is. It certainly is. This is actually, I'm really looking forward to our conversation today because I think it's a conversation that needs to be had over and over and over and over and over again, because we're going to talk about and over because there is no one size fits all in this area of self-care. So I think that's why it's so important for us to really assess.
Agree. And I think people now are more recognizing whatever self-care means to them. But I think people are now actually going, what can I do?
Yes.
Like they're actually saying, what can I do?
Yep.
But you're right, because there's no textbook. Today it might be this, tomorrow it might be something different. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the perfect way to open up this conversation is that one of the best tips around self-care is knowing where you're at. So we're going to do our wee check-in, which is, we call it the PEMS check-in. PEMS stands for physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. I put in the well-being, by the way.
I was going to say, I haven't heard that one before.
No, I just put that in. I heard that in my head. It's like, oops, I just changed the definition of it. But here's the thing. We're going to rate ourselves. We're going to give ourselves a number on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is where everything's really good. You're present, you're zenned out, you've had enough sleep, you're feeling good, ready for what's coming up. And 10 is, oh my God, the sky's falling, I don't know what to do, I'm stuck. And one of Deb's ways of describing that is sitting in a corner with sucking your thumb with a brown cardigan on. And we can even go higher than a 10. I know I've been higher than a 10.
I did this self-assessment yesterday with the client, and I said, what number are you? And she went 11. And I went, okay.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand.
Yes, I've done them before, and people have said 12. I think I've even had a 12.
I think, yeah.
All that being said, this is the key piece. And so you know how I said that there's so many different types of self-care practices and routines and ideas, that the first step to discerning what is the best thing for you is to know, where are you? So all that being said, dear Deb, where are you?
I'm a 2. I'm quite inspired about today. I feel my body feels like it's great. I'm alive. I'm alive, clearly. But, I actually feel more alive than sometimes.
Vibrant.
Yeah, so it actually is, I'm a 2, but I do love that this is tip number 1. I think that's a really great one.
Yeah.
And it's one that you don't have to hold on to it. You just have to acknowledge it. That's it. Oh, okay, I'm this. Rightio.
Yeah.
And there's no
No
problem if
big
you're a 12 or
story.
11.
No
Yeah.
big story or commentary needed. It's just like, okay, there I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a great tip to start today. But yeah, I'm a 2.
And guess what? So am I. This
Surprise.
often happens to us. And I think it happens to us more often than not. But it's about assessing is assessing where you are and not then getting into, oh, am I this, am I that? Actually, if we do get into am I this or am I that, that actually means it's the next one up. So if I had gone, am I a 2 or 2.5, then it's actually is a 2.5. But
or a 3. Just throw that one out there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely. Maybe
be.
on that. Maybe on that.
Yeah, so it's when there's a vacillation in it, then you have to pick the higher one. Because it's
there's
that
no overthinking
storytelling. Yeah. As soon as you get into
yeah.
overthinking, then it's like, whoops, that's not self-care. That's actually getting into some big story in your head. Right?
Which we all have.
Yes, we do.
We all have a story that runs us. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's a great one to start with. Tip number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Have you said the title of what we're talking about yet? I don't even know if you've said it.
No, I haven't said it. I did say
Oh.
self-care routines, but I did
Okay.
not say that these were tips to elevate your self-care routines. I just love that. Elevate. Let's elevate our self-care routines. There's a sense of because you're worth it in here, right?
Indeed. Well, that's shoulders back. Elevate is actually shoulders back, isn't it? Rise.
Yes, rise.
Yeah.
Shoulders back, rise. And so kick us off with the next one. After we've done our PEMS checking in physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, what would you say is tip number 2?
Well, I'm actually just going to add on to that number 1, and it's I know there was a social media probably about 10 years ago, and it was be okay with being not okay. And I'm actually, this is still number 1, but it's actually be okay with that number.
Yeah.
And I just to emphasize that, because be okay with not being okay. It's probably about 10 years ago, I think, if I remember that social media, be okay with not being okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually be okay with that number. It's just a number. Like, don't go, oh, I'm an 8. This is really not good. I need to change to a 0. What do I need to do? Like, okay, if you go from an 8 to a 7, you've already evolved. Or if you go from an 8 and you stay at an 8 for an hour or 2, like, that's okay. So just be okay with where you are right now. Because when you're in that, we all know desperation. When you're in that desperate state, I've got to change it. I've got to change it. I need to change it. I need to change it for my kids, for my family, for my wealth, for my self-care. I need to change that. You're in desperation mode, and desperation is ugly, and it's just a spiral downhill. So be okay with wherever you are, and just, okay, well, that's where I am. I'm a 2 or I'm an 8. Okay, right. I can change it.
So be it. Yeah.
Yeah. So be it. That's exactly. So that's actually still tip number 1, but I just want to emphasize that it's probably actually another tip. I don't know.
Well,
but it's actually be okay
it is.
with it.
Be okay with it, because the other thing that I just thought of when you said about desperation is that desperation is going to make you stick to something that's not really in your best interests. It's a label. It's a.
Well, there's no self-care in that. That's a
no.
Yeah.
And so, like, to your point here, and just to go even deeper, you were reminding me of actually just last week, I think I was doing a live session on Insight Timer, and I actually get them to check in, tell me the truth about what they're feeling.
Yeah.
We don't do the scale of 0 to 10, but it's to just check in. But my suggestion to them is to tell me the truth, because you see, people on Insight Timer are meditators, right? So if they are feeling anxious or scared or worried or discombobulated, that's one of my favorite words, then sometimes they can get into a conversation of, oh gosh, I shouldn't be feeling like this. I'm a meditator. I'm a spiritual being. I'm one of these people that follow these practices and protocols. So therefore, I should not be feeling this. So if you start getting into any form of conversation in your mind about you should or should not be, then that's time to put your hand on your heart and just say, what number am I? Okay, it is what it is. That's it.
I actually think that's a separate tip, because, like, when you started talking about that, I just kept coming up with the word fraud.
Ah, yes.
And I know myself, a few years ago, I had a quite a serious medical condition, and I personally felt like a big fraud because I'm like, Deborah, you of all people should.
Yeah.
Lovely word, should, quotation there. You of all people should know how to handle this. You shouldn't have got yourself into this situation. You should have done this. And I just felt like a big fat fraud because I'm like, oh God, you know, you're helping people with this and you can't even do it yourself. You know, so that truth and that fraud, I'm actually going to say that's a tip too.
Yeah.
Because I think, yeah, I just know that's what I went through. I went through that myself, and I was left with that. In fact, I talked to somebody recently who said they were a coach, and they said, oh no, I've got no money in my bank account here. I'm coaching people on finances, and I've got no money, and I'm living, you know, hour to hour. And I was laughing, going, oh yeah, fraud. Here we go. That's exactly it. So it's and I guess fraud, when you find that you're labeling yourself for fraud, and that truth is it's an awakener. So I guess that's another tip, is all these things. Well, actually, is it the same tip or not? You know, be awake. Just be awake. Just wake up to it. Be truthful to yourself.
So wake up to it can sometimes be being the witness to what's coming out your mouth, right? So it's like, what story are you telling yourself about yourself? Oh, I'm a fraud, or I'm a big fat this, or I'm a that. You see, when we tell ourselves these stories, we become that energy of it.
Yeah.
And then therefore, because we are all energetic attractor beings, creator beings, attractor beings, we're going to create more of that. And we don't want that. I mean, self-care, a self-care routine needs to be feeling soothing and calming and nurturing and like a big warm hug, because that's what you deserve.
But sometimes you need that slap in the face.
Well, so you can, I don't know about a slap on the face. I don't know. Like it could be like a
kick, I would call it. Yeah.
But that's the difference between Moira and Debz.
I call it a stiletto kick. You're going to get a stiletto kick with Deborah. But the self-talk is actually another tip, is watch that self-talk, which is your stories. But I actually listened to Lady Donnell the other day, and she called her stories circumstances and situations. And I went, oh, wow, that's your stories. Yeah. Because they literally come from, your stories that you have come from your circumstances and your situations. I love that. I know. And so that's why I was just like going, where is that piece of paper I wrote that down on? But that's your stories. And I loved that. So watch those circumstances and situations, the stories, but also your self-talk. Yep. Your self-talk is because your self-talk is going to create the energetic vibration of what you're going to draw into you, right? Yeah. Yeah. Such an important piece. So this idea of elevating your self-care routines, it really, really must start. And I love what you just said about with you. Wake up to what's your belief, what's your mindset, what are you telling yourself, what you're not telling yourself. It's about really saying, how's your energy and what do you need to fill your cup or to feel a bit better or move up that emotional scale to be feeling a bit more resilient or a bit more grounded and capable, right? Yeah. And you don't have to go from a 9 to a 3. Nope. Unless you listen to our whole podcast. But sometimes you can go from a 9 to an 8 or a 9 to an 8.5, and you've already moved. Like, it doesn't have to be all that way. No. I find, don't you, I find that if like, let's say I was an 8, it's by just kind of saying, on that scale of 0 to 10, where am I? And let's say I say 8. As soon as I've labeled that, and it's it's because such and such is going out, the number starts to shift right there, because I've told myself the truth. I'm not trying to run away or make up a story or say I shouldn't be feeling this, right? Yeah. It's just okay. I think that's it. I say three things. We all want to be seen, heard, and acknowledged.
Yeah.
And I think that's that thing. As soon as you see yourself for what's going on, so as soon as you see yourself as being an 8, so this is not necessarily other people, this is you seeing yourself as being an 8, you're hearing yourself that you're an 8, and you can acknowledge it that you're an 8, that number is definitely 100% going to shift.
Yeah.
The moment you've got your point across to people, and they see you, they hear you, and they acknowledge you, you've already started your healing process, your self-care routine, 100%. So seen, heard, and acknowledged is really, really, really important, because we get ourselves into a spiral when we're not seen, when we're not heard, and when we're acknowledged. And when people go, stop talking over me, stop, and they're shouting and they're saying, it's my turn to talk. They're not being seen. Can you not see me? Can you not hear me? Are you not listening to my side? They're all the three arguments. The seen, heard, and acknowledged are three massive arguments when people are not seen, heard, and acknowledged, and they just get onto that spiral of, you're not listening to me, you never respect me, and then the words just
get a bit toxic.
Yes, but that's also a bit toxic. But that's also for yourself as well. As long as you can see yourself, you can be heard by yourself, and you can acknowledge it, which is all part of that truth, fraud, check in with your numbers, self-talk, all those things.
Absolutely. But here's something that I was thinking as you were saying that I completely agree with you, that we all want and deserve and are looking for being seen, heard, and acknowledged. However, if we do not take a pause to see, hear, and acknowledge ourselves, we cannot expect anybody else to do it.
Oh, 100%.
Right? So it
Billion
has to start. Yeah, it has to start internally. So even in your example of saying, you're talking all over me, it's like, hey, wait, the universe is just giving you a wee tap to say, where are you ignoring yourself? Right?
Well, yes, and I think the next talk tip is ownership.
Yes.
So instead of pointing that finger, because we've all got that, you're doing this, this, and this, so where have you done that? Own your
yes. Yes. It's such and so there's the thing about when we have
being heard and acknowledged,
our self-care routines in place, that by taking ownership or responsibility, I like the word responsibility in here, because I like to break that apart and say, I have the ability to respond. So therefore, if it's like, this person's doing this, or it's like, you're not doing that, or you are doing this, to pause and say, wow, the reason I'm reacting is because I need to deal with something internally.
Yeah.
Always coming back to that. If I want to be seen, heard, and acknowledged, and I start getting in a snit because somebody's not doing it, it's like I say, it is the universe saying, haha, you need to just pay attention over here.
Yeah.
Here's a beautiful self-care tip, is something that bothers you. I remember somebody talking about using the world around you and as signs, as an oracle. And so she was saying that if you really get into that vibe about everything is for your best good, then when you see a stop sign, you can flow and realize that stop sign is for you to stop your car, but also, are there things that you need to stop?
Oh no, now every time I'm gonna say stop sign, I have to reassess.
No, it's done really quickly, just as a flash, because sometimes it is just simply a stop sign.
Yeah.
And other times it's an invitation to go, I've been
well, that's an internal dialogue, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like I say, it's done very, very quickly. If the intelligence of it is there, right there, that's great. If it's not, that's fine too. But I'm just sort of saying that that's a self-care tip, and that's actually all around this, what you're saying about ownership, which then I reframed as saying responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Those really go hand in hand, don't they?
Well, I think, I like the responsibility. I haven't heard that one before, and I've always said own your
I know.
shit. Own your ship. But I had someone, it was probably a month or so ago now, and someone was firing at me, you're just this fat, and and someone said, you're fat, and I was like, yeah,
Yes, thank you.
am.
Yes, thank you.
I actually, if you looked at my body compared to someone who was thinner than me, yes, what is it, BMI, BSI, what is that thing?
BMI. Body mass index.
Yeah. So if you look at my body mass index, if you look at my BMI, yeah, I am.
Mm.
But because I'd already owned that I'm not in shape physically, when they started firing all these things, I was left with, is that the best you've got? And then I'm like, Deborah, pull it in, because it's going to get worse. They're going to, watch what you say to the universe. And I was like, And they said, and you're just a girl, and you're just a blonde girl, and you don't know what you're talking about. And I was left with, okay, yep, I'm fat. Okay, I can own that. Yep, I'm blonde. Yep, I'm a girl. Yep, and I don't know what I'm talking about. Yep, because right now you're talking on a tangent that I have no even equation to even go down and research whatever you're talking about. So I was left with, yep. And I was thinking, where's the sting going to come?
Right.
And it was really, and so if anything, which was probably ego humble, I didn't sit in humble. I sat in ego going, yeah, give me something I can actually juice on here, like give me something. But when they were firing at me, and definitely I was ego 100%. I sat and listened, and I was ego, but whatever they were firing at me, it just deflated, because it didn't sting me. It didn't sting me into, oh my God, you're going to call me fat, I'm going to get so upset, I'm never going to go on camera again, it's like, okay, yeah, and yes, I am a female, and yes, I am blonde, and yes, in that subject, what he was talking about was something I was uneducated on. So yes. And so literally when they fired at me, I was left with, okay, and what?
Yes,
and yeah, and that was it. So it literally I had no emotional charge. It just deflated the whole bow and arrow firing. And I think that's a great way when people are firing. So the more responsibility, ownership, you take, the more responsibility of your life and your decisions and actions, you're not going to react to what's thrown at you. You just, that's it, move on.
But that story is actually a beautiful illustration of elevated self-care on your part. Because
I did sit in ego. There was definitely ego there. So there's ego and humble. There's definitely, it was sitting there, ego going, come on, really? That's your best you've got? And then I'm like, yeah. And then I never said that. And in my head, and then I was like, hang on, because I'm asking the universe for him to level up. Deborah, just let it be. Don't have to do that. You don't have to watch what you ask the universe. That's probably a tip on its own. But it was because when he fired, that's a perfect elevation of self-care. Routine that just happened every time it hit me. I was like, okay, I can own that. Can I own that fully? Where was it? When was it? Who did I do it to? Yep. Okay.
Absolutely. And so that's that. It's that recognizing that it's a feedback. It's somebody else's reaction or somebody else saying something. And like I say, perhaps even looking at signs around you, it's feedback. It's providing you a gift of feedback. But here's the next tip that I want to go into from this place is, where is your self-care on your priority list? Is it at the top? Because that is the biggest tip that I can say, is it actually has to be priority number one. It can't be, oh, I'll write in my journal when I have time, or I will go for a walk when I have time later, or I will do my affirmations or my gratitude practice, or I'm just riffing on ideas of self-care practices. My suggestion has always been to have 2 to 3 items that you do every single day before you do anything else. And they cannot be anything related to picking up your phone or answering your emails.
What? Well, see, where is it on your list? And I think that's that thing is diary it and prioritize it.
Yeah.
So where is it on your list? But diary it and prioritize it.
Precisely. So it's a no-brainer that it's the very first thing that you do before you interact or take on anything else. The reason where I'm coming from with this is that it's all about energy etiquette for your own self. Because if you, in my example of if you wake up and you pick up your phone and you start engaging on Facebook posts or social media or emailing address.
That's me at 3 o'clock in the morning. Wake up, go to the toilet, come back, look at my phone and start messaging and doing things. And then I'm like, what am I doing? That's a great self-care routine. No wonder I'm bright and wide awake at that time.
I actually put my phone on, what's the flight? You know,
flight
like
mode.
airplane mode. So it actually is not receiving anything. And
I've got a friend in Australia, and she literally puts her phone in the other room, and she goes to bed. And I'm like, what? Why would you do that? Don't you want to? And she's like, no, Deborah. And that's definitely, you know, is that herself? That's her self-care routine. And when she had a child, one of the things she loved to say, well, Mum's phone's in the kitchen, so when you go to bed, you know.
Yeah. No, that's very good. I keep mine because I actually prefer the alarm that I get to set on my phone as I do on any other alarm clock that I've ever had. So that's actually why I have it. But like I said, it's on airplane mode, so I'm not receiving anything. So even if I did look, there's nothing there for me to see. Not that I would do that anyways, because but what I was going to say about that is that you're taking in the energy of other things. You know, you see some kind of post come up, whether you like it or dislike it, you're getting the energy in your own energy bubble.
So watch your energy bubble. Yeah. I'm laughing because we do our podcast at 6 a.m. in the morning in New Zealand. And so for me at 5:20, my alarm goes off on my phone every
comes to see me.
morning. Yeah. And my alarm on my phone is put another log on the fire. Put another log on, and it goes and it's just right.
Well, there you go. There's a way.
And I dislike the wording of the song because it's so old school, and it's probably pretty horrific in these current times. But I do like that and that's what I wake up to every Tuesday morning at 5:20. That tune comes in. So
that's
wake the dogs up, my partner. Yeah, that's it. Put another log on fire. Yeah. So maybe your self-care routines is listen to your music around you. What's the noise around you?
Very much so. So I wouldn't want to wake up to something like that. Mine's is, I don't even know what it's called. It's kind of some tinkly meditation type music.
Of course yours is, and mine's put another log on the fire. Of course. I do have different ones. I do have my 11:11 alarm, which is a different tune again. But yeah, I do like that. Put another log on the fire.
Very cute. But you see, so here's the thing: is it doesn't matter, because if you like it, then that is you.
And if the dogs like it,
then
hey, if the dogs like it, but it is what it is. They don't complain. They don't say anything.
Oh no, because they're going to love you unconditionally anyway.
Yeah, they'll just go, don't turn the light on. Yeah, that's it.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
So I would like to add to the tip, and I use this reference often, and it's called glitter bomb. Moira's like, yep, everybody. Glitter bomb. Yep. Do whatever lights you up. Definitely. And that glitter bomb could be standing outside, getting in fresh air. And it can be in the rain, not rain, standing in the sun. It could be walking around the garden looking at what's out there. It could be just sitting in your car taking a minute away. It could be shutting the toilet door from your children or dogs. It could be lighting a candle, putting a perfume on, wearing special lingerie.
Wearing a different special kind of earrings or jewelry of some sort. Yeah.
Anything. And just ensure that at least once a day, if not often, but at least once a day, you're sprinkling glitter on you,
Absolutely.
whatever that is.
Well, something that you and I have often shared is Deb and I both love getting our nails done and do it every 3
and
weeks.
mine today.
And hers today are so glittery.
I reckon
That
they're
fills
the
your
best.
glitter bomb.
I reckon I've literally looked at them. I got them done yesterday. Literally, I'm driving. I was like, oh, look. And I was like, hold the steering wheel. Oh, look at that hand. Oh, look at that hand. Look at the way the light shines on it. Oh, look at the way when I put the torch on it at night. Yeah, I love my new. But that's exactly it. So that's part of the glitter bomb.
Mhm.
Because every time I look at my nails, I go, oh.
It makes you
Ooh.
smile, and it makes you.
Yeah.
So here's the thing about the you looking after yourself as top priority is because you matter. And the more you access that, I'm doing this because I matter, then that means that I get to be of service and of kindness and to other people in top form. Right. And so we're talking about our nails, and I'm sure there's some guys listening to this going, oh, yeah, no, not so much into the nails.
But the
find
other
what
thing is,
works for you.
Yeah. And the other thing is it doesn't have to cost you anything.
No.
Because I do know I go get my nails done every 3 weeks. I'm fully aware of that. And there is a cost to that.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's worth it.
Yeah, me too.
But it doesn't have to cost you anything. So even, the glitter might be like just going outside and feeling the fresh air when you're feeling bogged down.
Yeah.
If you're sitting at your desk all day, then go outside or stretch, or even just stretch and reach your toes, and then go, I can't reach my toes like I used to. Okay. but do so. It doesn't have to cost you anything, is what I want to emphasize. I have a beautiful pen that my partner bought me, and I write with my pen. I write with my pen, and that's definitely a self-care routine, because I know when I write with it, I feel good inside.
Yeah.
It just gives me that warm fuzzy of, oh, I like this.
Yeah.
So whatever that self-care routine is.
Yes. But this is in the
clean sheet from the bed.
There's that too.
Yeah.
But that's what makes you light up. Right. And so to your point, it doesn't have to cost money.
No.
It's to like when you were saying about going outside, I love going outside with my bare feet in the grass. Just get grounded, just take a few deep breaths and hear the bird song. On my walk today, there's all these new energetic vibes of bird song, because we're in spring here in the Northern Hemisphere.
We're in autumn.
Yes. So your leaves are falling and ours are starting to sprout. The buds are swelling.
To come alive. Yeah.
And so I love just taking a moment to just acknowledge that and breathe it in. So that's another really big piece around this, is to tag on to your glitter bomb one, is to look at what do you appreciate.
Oh, gratitude.
Yeah, appreciation, gratitude, and make sure that you have a little visit with that throughout your day, not just even once, like throughout your day. What are you appreciative of now? Right?
Yeah. And write it down. Or write it down, but also share with other people. There's nothing wrong with sending a message to somebody and going, hey, I just thought of you. Thanks so much for being in my life. If it's genuine.
Yes.
Don't
do it because Deb just told you to do that.
Yeah. Who do I have to write that list to? But if it's genuine, but share that with those. Share that with those who have had an impact in your world.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a really good tip.
Yep.
And then who knows, you could be elevating them and their sense of self-worth and peace and calmness too.
Well, there's no win-win. There's no mistake. I mean, I've just started a course yesterday, and two of the people I went, they'd be keen to. I'm sure they'd be keen to do it. So I reached out to them. They went, you wouldn't believe what's going on in my life. This is perfect timing. Thank you so much.
Very cool.
And it's just like, for me, I was just like, I thought of them, and I shared, and they went, you don't know what I've been going through.
Right.
If only you knew. And I'm like, well, clearly I thought of you. So both literally joined my course, but it was actually just about sharing. I love that. Share with others.
Yeah.
If it's authentic and genuine.
The other thing too is that to follow, like, I love that, but to also then follow the inspiration, like I haven't talked to so-and-so for a while, and just go do it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that is what is like the somebody I used to have as a friend years and years ago. I've lost touch with this guy, but he used to talk about the cosmic spider web. And the idea, he used to say, we're all on this cosmic spider web. And so one vibration on the spider web on the opposite side of the globe, you could pick it up. And so your story there feels like, yeah, somebody just moved that and you went, oh, that I need to answer that, or I need to share with that.
Well, there's no mistake, is there?
Absolutely
and
not.
Whenever you reach out to people, they're like, oh, I've been thinking about messaging you. Oh, you wouldn't believe what happened. Or I listened to the song the other day and I thought I must reach out to Deb. And I'm like, okay, well, I beat you to it. But that's exactly it. It is that cosmic web too.
Yep.
I'm going to add another one onto that, because here I am saying reach out, and I'm actually going to add declutter.
Yes, I like.
So I'm going to do the complete opposite and say declutter friends, family, jobs, undies that have holes in, clothes that don't fit you, books that have been sitting there for too long, old shabby tea towels or something. Declutter everything around you. Clean it out, because it doesn't bring you joy. It doesn't give you spark. You look at it and go, I can't believe that, or like declutter with friends who you feel like, you're the one making all the effort.
Right.
Like declutter.
I'm giggling because as we are recording this episode, we're about to have a full moon in the sign of Scorpio and
really?
Penumbral lunar eclipse. And the vibe of that is life-changing and self-acceptance and letting go of the things that you've got hanging on around you that, because it's always been there, or I should stick with this project because people have told me this, or I have to, or so it's about what we're stepping into is a time of really getting truthful with, is this in alignment with the trajectory of my highest and best outcome, my life, the way I want it?
That's funny then. Of course,
So
we talk about that one
perfect.
now. Perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
I think we're fearful of decluttering. What will people think? What will, and so I guess that goes to the don't overthink it. Just,
Truly.
if you don't want to have a conversation with them, just stop talking.
Yeah.
Like and then
okay.
Just focus on you, focus on those things that we've talked about in our, to elevate your self-care routine. What lights you up? What's your internal dialogue? Your stories and that. Like, so declutter. I'd love that. Of course, that's what's happening right now. But it is. It's okay to. And if you're not inspired about your job, get out, because you're going to do yourself a favor, but you're going to do everyone else around. You're going to do your work colleagues a favor. If you've got a partner or children, you're going to do them a favor, because the last thing they need is you coming home every day going, oh, John did this, Bob did this, Annabelle did this. Oh, I hate this. I'm not getting paid enough to listen to their crap.
This is such a pain in the neck, and this is
Can't believe I'm going to have to go to work again tomorrow and start it all again. And you're living for the weekends. If you're a Monday to Friday, you're living for that weekend, and then Monday you get the Monday morning blues. Oh, I've got to go to work again. Get out,
A horrible existence. Nope. So
you can only do it for so long, because and this is all part of the self-care. These tips we give you are achievable. They're achievable and real.
And sometimes it's a change the channel type thing, because let's say if you were in a job where and you had fiscal responsibilities, and you're going to say, oh, Deb and Moira telling me to quit my job. Well, no, maybe you do need the income, but so stop telling the story of this sucks and this is terrible and I can't do this anymore. Reframe it to say, this is a step on my journey to what is it you want? Where are you going? And create that. It's like, no, I'm so grateful for this position because I get to pay my bills, and at the same time be looking at, where are you going now? Just wanted to kind of add that one in.
I love that. And Dr. John DeMartini says, if you've got conflict in your staff, he said, fire them up before you fire them out. And I love that, because sometimes it's easier to work on what you know than what you
True. Yes.
bring in somebody new.
Mhm.
So find out what's going on, and you know, if they're not happy, if you're an employer, you know, and they're not happy in their job, ask them, what do they love to do? Maybe
Yeah.
there's somebody else in that business who wants to swap job roles.
Yep.
Or something like that. But also,
Maybe
if
you
you're
need to
the
tweak their job description somehow.
yeah, totally. And if you're
Mhm.
the employee and you're not happy about it, go to your boss. I remember I had somebody who actually went to their, who was that? It was a male, I remember, and they, oh yeah, okay, I remember now. And he went to his boss and said, these are 10 things I don't like doing in my job. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this, because I talked about it, but I hadn't prepped him in my mind. I hadn't prepped him enough. And he went and told his boss, said, these are the 10 things I don't like doing in my job.
Mhm.
What can you do about it? And they said, well, we're looking at reshuffling jobs. So let's take those off. And what do you love to do? And they literally, he'd been with the company 8 years. And he said, I'm going to go to somebody else. I just don't like doing this. And I said, well, why don't you just talk to them? Not thinking he had 10 things on his list. Like, it was just a casual, why don't you just talk to them? And then next thing you know, we were talking, he said, oh, I went to them, I went with their 10 things, and now they're going to restructure my job, and they're going to give me this, and they're going to give me more of the
Sweet.
things that I love to. And I was like, whoa, okay, well, I hadn't prepped you for that, because I was thinking, but I love that he actually, because the other thing is, if you don't like it, what do you love to do? If you're going to somebody, you've actually got to say, hey, I don't like doing these things on my job, but I know Moira loves to do them, or I know Bob loves to do them, but these are the things I actually love to do. What can we do about it? So if you're that person, you've got to get clear on what you actually love to do. You can't just say, I don't like these things, take these 10 things off my list, and then I'm going to have a much better job. No.
That's exactly what I was referencing when it's like, instead of telling lots of story of all the things you don't like, use it as the stepping ground, the pivot place to say, I don't like this, but I like that.
Yeah,
because it's
I
always
love that
there.
stepping place. Yeah. Well, it's all on the way, not in the way, isn't it?
That's right. It's one of my favorite things that you say.
And I can hear my squeaky chair. Well, we've landed quite a few tips to elevate your self-care routines. It's not how I thought it would go, actually.
No, me neither. But of course,
surprise.
But
of course it did. So we're going to recap these. Or if you've got any more, you might want to jump them in at the very, very end. But so if we didn't, grab your note-taking device.
Oh, right.
Pen,
I didn't tell
paper.
you to do that at the beginning. Good job. You'd stepped in and said that.
I'm onto that one. And we'll see, that's actually another self-care routine. Write it down.
Write it down.
Don't store that stuff in your head. There,
Definitely
tip number 1,
not.
write it down. Write your things down.
Yep.
So these are the tips that we had. So here we go. Number 1, we actually rated ourselves at the start. We actually both were a 2, which is a giggle surprise. But check in with your number with your pens.
Yeah.
And also acknowledge it's just a number.
Yes. Just
be okay with
with
not
it.
being okay.
Be okay with it.
Yeah. And reminding yourself that desperation is ugly. This is my tip number 1 is, I need to be a 0 and I'm actually an 8. Oh no, I need to be a 0. And so I'm desperate to get to a 0 before I go and see my next client, or if I do my next sales call, or before I talk to whatever, or go home to the partner, whatever. So just know that desperation is ugly. But just number 1 is check in with your number. Okay, this is what it is. Right. That's it. Done.
Okay with
Tick.
it. Yeah.
Next. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And so the next one is about waking up to your self-talk. We've talked about a number of different pieces, and we said, about being a fraud. We talked about being a fraud here, right? That if I shouldn't be this.
And if you're a coach, that's quite often.
Yes, can be. So it's like, wake up to your self-talk, because understand that your self-talk is actually creating that invisible energy, which is actually, we think it's invisible, but it's quite tangible.
It's not.
It's quite tangible. So being aware of your self-talk, be mindful of any time you say I should or shouldn't, or have to, or just see if can you actually use that as a wee bit of a detective tool to see what do you need to implement in your self-care.
You actually said be witness to yourself, and I wrote that down. I love that because that just makes you go, oh, okay, yep, I can be the witness to myself, and you're getting clear.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
The next one I had, thank you, Moira. The next one I had was self-talk.
Mhm.
And then I had the word stories in there. Watch that self-talk. And Danelle, the lady I've been following lately, she talked our stories as our circumstances and situations.
Yeah, I really
And
like that. I agree too. Mhm.
Well, because when we say stories, we're like, oh, what could that mean? I mean, I know what it means, but when it's our circumstances and situations that mean Moira's story could be different to mine.
Yeah.
Mine could be even different to somebody who lives in my country.
Mhm.
You know, I have different circumstances and situations that's got me to who I am.
Yeah.
And so watch that self-talk that's happening, and it can be changed at any time when you're ready.
Yeah. Most
Yeah.
definitely. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Like that. And because you're still the one that's telling the story.
It's your story it's your story to change or not.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Until you come to Moira, and then we'll change it for you.
Yes.
Mumble, Deborah. And then we'll change it for you. Yeah, that's it.
The next one I have here is this concept that we all want to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. And that is actually the driving force for all of us, is internally that we all want to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. However, the key piece, and this is an essential component to self-care routines, is that you must see, hear, and acknowledge yourself first. Because if you take that out into the world and say, hey, I need to be seen, heard, and acknowledged, so you're not listening to me or you're not acknowledging me before you've done it yourself, then when somebody maybe ignores you or doesn't listen to you, it actually could often be, in fact, it always is, an indicator that you ain't doing it for yourself. So therefore, it's like, thanks very much for that like tap on the shoulder to say, where am I not seeing, hearing, and acknowledging me? And address that. Be authentic with yourself. Tell yourself the truth and give it to yourself. And then you'll start to flow again. Beautiful self-care component. There's so many different ways that you can see, hear, and acknowledge yourself. Right?
Well, that's and that's what stepped us into our next one, which was ownership. Squeaky chair. And responsibility, which Moira calls responsibility and I call own your ship. Ship.
I also like to think of authorship in here too.
Oh yeah, of course.
Right?
Oh, you're well, you're the captain of your own ship.
Yes,
definitely.
you are.
Yeah. So when people, this is where I actually talked about where a man was calling me names and saying all these things, and literally when he was saying them, I was like, okay, yep, I am a female. Yep, I am blonde. Yep, I am fat according to you and according to the BMI of society. And yes. So, and it just stopped that whole emotional charge for me. So owning who I am.
Yep.
That's it. So own as much as you own the liar in you, own the mean girl in you, own the good girl in you, own the truthful seeker, own the question seeker, own the positives and the negatives that you label it, because they're all just labels, but take ownership of it, because when people fire things at you, you're left with, okay, right. Okay. And it doesn't control your day or world and that to me is a great, self-care routine.
I love that. I love that, because not only it ties in with our tip number 1 about the PEMS check-in, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, where are you? But also the other thing too is if somebody's attacking me or saying, you're this, you're this, you're this, it's actually not about me. It's about the person who thinks that they need to point out all these things. And so therefore I need to be solidly in who I am and not allow somebody else's opinion to derail or upset me. So that's again about responsibility, authorship, ownership. Is like, okay, I'm going to stay in my own energy bubble. Thank you very much.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Which actually, talking about energy bubble, I noted that here on our next tip is that my question or my invitation to our listeners and ourselves even is, where is self-care on your priority list? Because the truth is it needs to be priority number one. There's no negotiation. It has to be right up there at the top in order for you to be operating at your absolute best. Right.
Well, that's that get on the plane and who puts your oxygen, if you've got children around, put your own oxygen mask on first.
Yes.
But I like that, I like the diary and prioritize it. Like
definitely, I like that too. It's an important
because well that's telling your soul,
yep,
I'm worthy.
I'm worthy. I matter. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very
the
important.
Next I love all these. The next tip I have is my glitter bomb.
Yeah. What lights you up?
That's what lights you up, what brings you joy, what gives you a spark, and that can be, so today could be different to tomorrow, or today, first thing in the morning, could be different to in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Like whatever it is.
Where you're at. Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to, this we talked, look at my nails again. Distraction. It doesn't have to cost you money. Yeah. It was well worth the money I paid for these nails. I think they're the best I've had all year. I do say I like them, and then I love these though. But it can be, you talked about going outside in the grass and just with bare feet on. Like if that's what your glitter bomb is, then do that. If it's lighting a candle, if it's wearing a different deodorant, or if it's wearing a perfume that your nanny used to wear, or but whatever it is, whatever that glitter bomb is, do whatever gives you that spark. Do more of it.
Definitely.
And it doesn't have to be one thing a day. Like get as many
multiple things, and then reminders of going back into it too.
Yeah,
I think that's
if it's a song. People say put a song on, have a bloody good dance.
Yeah,
or bloody good sing. You're driving along, and then a song comes on the radio, and crank it up and sing away.
Yeah. I love to do that. I actually do that.
I do that in shops.
I just sing.
But that glitter bomb is important, and it doesn't have to be money.
No.
Yeah.
No. The last one that I have actually is about appreciation. We talked about appreciation and gratitude, and talked about sharing it with others. Like if you thought of somebody, reach out to them and say, "Hey, I was thinking about you. How you doing?" That kind of thing. And that's where we actually talked about spider web, that we are all connected on the cosmic spider web.
Yeah, that's enough to even just that gives you that. Yeah. And I love gratitude and appreciation. That's a great one to end on, but we're not going to end there because we've just got one more.
One more.
Just got one more, but I'd love to have ended on the gratitude and appreciation. But my other was actually declutter.
Yes. Cleaning things up.
Yeah, which is your friends, your family, your drawers, your junk drawer, they call in the kitchen, that you dig in there, and there's always a pin, P-I-N. There's always some sharp object that freaking pricks your bloody finger when you get in there, and you're like, where's that? Where is that thing? That's, and so declutter your jobs, declutter your wardrobe. We're all going through change of season right now. If that's what it needs, put your winter woolies in over your side of the world, winter woolies in the other wardrobe, bring them into our own if they're over this side of the world. But declutter, because that's all 100% part of how to elevate your self-care routine, because it's those things that just you look at daily that you're like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, and you don't get it done.
Yes.
Oh, that's it. That's literally it.
We did the whole list.
That's it. So wow, that is the tips to elevate your self-care routines. I don't even know how many we had. People, they can tell us how many we had.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So what?
I think it was 10, but
yeah, I think it's probably
more.
Yeah. What? So we also at the very start, our tip number 1 was actually check in with your PEMS and give yourself a number. And Moira and I did that number, and you, our lovely listeners, did that number as well. So where are you at now, everybody? You moved from a 8 to a what? Where did you move from? Did you move closer to the 0? Did you move closer to the 10? Let us know where you were. And Moira, what were you? You were a 2.
I was a 2.
I was a 2. I was a 2 too. What number are you now?
I'm a 0.
Yeah. I'm a 0 too. I don't feel zened. I actually feel neutral, and like I wouldn't say zen, like I just feel This is interesting. This has given me some great little tips here, and I feel ready for my day. So it's a different 0 that I would usually say I have, because usually a 0, I'm like, oh, this is great. Right. I don't feel that. Yeah. Which I'm still saying is a 0, because I just feel like, wow, these are really cool tips that we've given today.
I would say so. It's a soothing. There's a soothing.
Soothing
and
0
yet
would be
soothing and yet energizing, I think. So that neutral is a good
inspired.
word there too.
Yeah,
inspired. I like that.
So let us know where you've jumped from to where you are now. And if you liked this, I'm going to say, if you like this, the next step is implement these self-care routines, because they 100% will elevate you. If you can only do one, then just do one. But there's 10 or 9 or 11, I don't know. However many there are, if you can implement all of them, that will be amazing. But just be okay with where you're at. Yeah. Be okay. And just, so if you like this, the next step is to implement 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever one that lights you up, and just start with one.
Yeah. Share with us, what is your favorite one?
Yeah. Yes. So thank you, Moira, for today. Thank you, listeners, for today. And thanks for the topic, tips to elevate your self-care routines. Yeah. We will see you, hear you. You will hear us. You won't see us. You will hear us next time. I was about to say on the Muppet Show. You'll hear us next time on our Deliciously Motivated Mindset conversation with Debz and Moira. Thank you, everybody.
Perfect. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, dear Debz.
Thanks.
See you next time. Bye.